Welcome back, homebodies. My name's Amy, and I live in the Catskill Mountain area of New York State with my husband Joe and our son Julius. If you've never been to New York State, the Catskill Mountain region is a beautiful part of the state. Many people outside of New York State don't realize that most of the state is wilderness. However, many people equate New York State with New York City. We live in an area that is rural. The Catskill Mountain area is a rural area of New York State. The Catskill Mountain area is north of New York City, about 2 to 3 hours north of New York City, and it spans 4 counties or provinces in New York State: Delaware County, Greene County, Sullivan County, and Ulster County. In the middle of these 4 counties is a preserve known as the Catskill Park. The Catskill Mountain area of New York State is a beautiful and magical area that has captured people's imaginations for years. There have been many writers who have used the Catskill area of New York State as the setting of their stories. There are so many works of literature set in the New York Catskills that there's even a name for it: Catskills literature. Today I'd like to present 3 authors who set their writing in the New York Catskills. Almost exactly 200 years ago, author Washington Irving published a story called Rip Van Winkle, which is set in the New York Catskills. Irving's story, Rip Van Winkle, is based on an old German folk tale. Irving placed his main character in the Catskill Mountains. The character Rip Van Winkle was a younger man wandering in the Catskill Mountains. He encounters a strange group of people who are small and like to play games, and they offer him a drink. After which he falls asleep for 20 years and wakes up an old man. When he wanders back to his family's home, he realizes his life has changed forever. His wife is gone, and his children have all grown up and moved away. Washington Irving really captured the mystery and beauty of the Catskill Mountain area in his writings. There is other great literature also set in the Catskill Mountains. If you enjoy young adult fiction, Jean Craighead George's book, My Side of the Mountain, published in 1959, is also set in the Catskills. This is a photo of the author, Jean Craighead George, in Alaska. My Side of the Mountain tells the story of a boy from New York City who runs away to the Catskill Mountains to survive in the woods. And he spends a year living in the Catskill Mountains. If you'd like to read a book that really captures the heart and soul of the Catskill Mountains, try My Side of the Mountain. Here's a quote from My Side of the Mountain. There were maples and oaks to the west, and a hemlock forest to the right that pulled me right across the sweet grasses into it. Never, never have I seen such trees. They were giants. Old, old giants. They must have begun when the world began. The last writer I'll mention is a writer from the 19th century named John Burroughs. John Burroughs was an American naturalist. A naturalist is someone who goes out into nature and documents the animals, the plant life, the flowers, the climate, the topography. And that's what John Burroughs did. John Burroughs spent many years exploring the Catskill Mountain area of New York State. And in 1871, he published a book called Wake Robin. This was a book about the natural beauty of the Catskill Mountains. This is a photograph of Henry Ford, the founder of the Ford Motor Company, and that's Henry Ford there, and John Burroughs. John Burroughs was a famous American naturalist in the 19th century through the early 1900s, and he knew many famous people in America. He knew Theodore Roosevelt, our former president, and Henry Ford. In his book, Wake Robin, John Burroughs documented the birds, the flowers, and the scenery of the beautiful Catskill Mountains. I found a quote by John Burroughs that I thought was appropriate. In October, a maple tree before your window lights up your room like a great lamp. Even on cloudy days, its presence helped to dispel the gloom. John Burroughs really captured the beauty of the Catskill Mountains in the autumn, which is my favorite time of the year. Of course, there are other writers and other works of literature that are set in the beautiful New York State Catskills. I just wanted to highlight 3 authors and 3 works that capture the beauty and magic of the Catskill Mountains. I'll leave you with an image of a double rainbow that we had over our pond back in March of 2022. And I also will add some clips of the beautiful scenery here in the New York Catskills. But of course, images and videos don't do the Catskill Mountains justice. The best way to see and understand the beauty of the Catskill Mountains is to visit New York State and to visit the beautiful area of the Catskills. Thanks for watching.